You know, digital clutter, it's something we all deal with. But if you're over 60, you've probably felt that the stress of a messy browser feels, well, different, heavier somehow. Today, we're going to dig into exactly why that is. And listen, this isn't about being good or bad with technology. It's about understanding the hidden price we're paying for a habit that seems totally harmless. And more importantly, how you can reclaim the kind of focus you've spent a lifetime building. And this right here, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's not some big, dramatic computer crash that wears us out. No, it's that quiet, little row of logos and words at the top of our screen. Every single one of them is an idea we had, a task we meant to finish, you know the drill. You opened one to look up a recipe, another to check on that vacation spot, a third for a news article a friend sent you, and now they just sit there. They feel like a row of tiny, blinking reminders of everything you haven't gotten to yet. So today, we're going to figure out exactly why they feel so heavy and learn the simple, powerful ways to lift that weight for good. So here's what we're going to walk through together. First, we'll uncover the hidden neurological commitment your brain makes every time you open a tab. Then we'll look at the fundamental mismatch of your brain versus the browser. After that, we'll pivot to the solution, the power of radical closure and a simple system called the single path protocol. Then we'll reframe this whole thing so you see yourself not as a victim of clutter, but as a master of context. And we'll wrap up with a really simple action you can take right away, the 10-tab purge. All right, so let's dive right in. Why do those tabs feel so heavy? Is it just you, or is there something real going on under the surface? Well, I'm here to tell you it is absolutely not in your imagination. The answer isn't a hidden promise your brain makes, without your permission, for every single one of those tabs you leave open. Well, there's a name for this. It's called visual persistence load. The easiest way to think about it is like a to-do list that's always floating in front of your eyes. See, your brain is a task completion machine. It's built to find problems and solve them. So it looks at every single one of those tabs as an unresolved task, an unfinished job. And that creates this constant low-level hum of static in the back of your mind. It's like a tiny, persistent drain on your mental energy that you're paying all day long. See, the thing is, our brains are just hardwired for order. They crave completion. It's why finishing a crossword puzzle or tidying up the garage feels so satisfying. But online, we do the opposite. We create dozens of open loops with every tab we click. And those open loops are the enemy of focus. They are literally draining the battery of your working memory, that mental space you need for making decisions, for solving problems, for just being present in a conversation. It's not that you're forgetting to close them. It's that your brain is working overtime, trying to keep track of all that unfinished business. And this deep need for order, well, it puts us in direct conflict with the very technology we use every day. It's a fundamental mismatch, really. A battle between how our minds are wired and how our digital world is designed. And this slide lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got your brain. It prefers linear completion. It wants to do one thing at a time, see it through, and then move on. But on the other side, you've got the browser, which is designed for parallel fragmenting. It's built to encourage you to do a million things at once. It thinks your brain is like a computer, able to juggle endless tasks without a cost. But that's just not how we're built for deep thinking. The system is fundamentally at odds with the focused mind you've worked so hard to cultivate. And every single time you jump between those tasks, you're paying a little mental tax. It's called context switching friction. This is really key, especially after 60. As we get older, our brain's command center, the prefrontal cortex, gets better and better at deep, focused work, but it also becomes more sensitive to distractions. So every time your eyes just glance over that row of tabs, your brain does what's called a micro-audit. In a split second, it asks, what's that one? Why is it open? Is it important? What do I need to do? This happens over and over, hundreds of times a day, and each little audit chips away at your mental energy. You know, this quote gets at something really fascinating in psychology called the Zeigarnik Effect. It's our brain's natural obsession with unfinished business. You've felt this before, right? It's why you can't stop thinking about the cliffhanger at the end of a TV show. The story isn't finished, so it stays active in your mind. Well, an open tab is like the ultimate digital cliffhanger. It's a non-stop, unfinished business notification that your brain just can't turn off. So, what's the actual cost of all this? What does it do to us? Well, it's pretty serious. It leads to what's called digital clutter fatigue. Your body actually sees this endless list of tasks as a mild threat, which can lead to little spikes in the stress hormone, cortisol. It's like having dozens of tiny leaks in your cognitive gas tank. And really, it explains why an hour staring at a computer can feel so much more draining than 3 hours lost in a good book. The book welcomes you into one world, the browser demands you live in 40 at once. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time on the problem, but the good news is there's a solution, and it's not some complicated app you have to buy. It's a simple but really profound shift in how we think. It's all about embracing the power of radical closure and taking back control. This, right here, is the big idea that can change everything for you. The default mode for most of us is digital accumulation. We save everything, keep every tab open, just in case we might need it later. What we need to do is consciously shift to a mindset of radical closure. This isn't about being disorganized. It's a strategic move to protect your peace of mind by closing anything that isn't helping you right now. So let's just stop and completely rethink what a browser tab is even for. For so long, we've treated them like a storage closet, a messy place to dump things we might need someday. That's the old view, and it's the source of the stress. The new, empowered view is this. A tab is just a tool on your workbench. It's the hammer you need for the nail you're hitting right now. And when you're done with the hammer, what do? You put it away. It's time we started treating our digital tools with that same simple respect. Now, I know this might feel a little scary at first, but this is such a game changer. That fear of closing a tab is the fear of losing something important. But let's be real, you can always find that article again. You can search for that recipe. What you gain when you close that tab is so much more valuable. You aren't losing information, you are releasing the load. You're giving your mind the quiet, clean space it needs to actually think. Closing a tab isn't an act of loss, it's an act of power. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how do we actually do it? How do we make it a habit? Well, a philosophy is great, but a simple system is what makes it stick. So let's talk about the single path protocol, a clear, practical way to make this happen. It comes down to 3 really simple, really powerful habits. First up, the rule of 5. Make it a hard rule for yourself. Never have more than 5 tabs open at once. Why 5? Well, science tells us that's about how many things our brain can comfortably juggle at one time. This forces you to focus. Second, bookmark and bury. If you find something you truly want to save, great, bookmark it. But then, and this is the key part, immediately close the tab. Bury it, get it out of sight. And third, the end-of-day purge. Every single day, before you turn off your computer, make it a ritual to close every tab. You will be so grateful in the morning. And here are a couple of other little tricks that can really help lock this in. Try the one in, one out system. Think about your physical desk. You'd probably only have one book open at a time, right? Treat your browser the same way. Before you open a new tab, close an old one. And for all those interesting articles you want to read later, use a reading list buffer. Services like Pocket or your browser's own reading list are perfect for this. One click saves the article for later and gets it out of your immediate workspace. These aren't just tech tricks, they're strategies for protecting your most valuable resource, your attention. And the reward for doing that end-of-day purge? Oh, it's this feeling right here. It's a truly fresh start. When you open your browser in the morning and see a clean, empty page, you're not ambushed by yesterday's problems and decisions. You're greeted with calm, with possibility. You get to decide what's important today instead of being pulled back into yesterday. It is truly one of the best gifts you can give your brain. All right, I want to take a moment and shift our perspective on this, because it's really easy to feel like this sensitivity to digital clutter is some kind of personal failure, like we're just not keeping up. But what if I told you it's the exact opposite? What if that stress is actually a sign of your brain's greatest strength? I really want you to hear this next part. Let this sink in. The reason those dozens of tabs bother you so much is because you care. You have high intellectual standards. You have a lifetime's worth of commitment to finishing what you start. A disengaged mind can ignore a cluttered screen, but your mind sees the potential in each tab. It sees the connections. So your stress isn't a weakness. It's proof of your intellectual integrity. So I want you to start thinking of yourself this way. You are a master of context. You have decades of experience connecting ideas, seeing the big picture, and understanding nuance in a way that is truly rare. Your brain isn't failing you. It's asking you for the digital silence it needs to do the deep, sophisticated work it's so good at. That desire for a clean screen isn't a bug. It's a feature of a wise and experienced mind. And that brings us to a piece of wisdom that only comes with experience. We live in a world obsessed with more data, more notifications, more tabs. But you know the truth, don't you? Volume is not value. One good idea, one that you can truly reflect on and use in your life, is worth 100 unread articles. It's about choosing the signal over the noise. All right, we've talked about the why and the how. Now it's time to actually do something. Let's turn all this knowledge into action with a simple, empowering first step. So here's my challenge to you. As soon as this is over, go to your browser. I want you to find 10 tabs, just 10, that you haven't touched in the last couple of days. Don't agonize over it. Don't worry about what you might be losing. Just click the little X, take a breath, and feel that tiny, wonderful release. It's a small step, but it's a powerful way to prove to yourself that you are the one in charge of your digital world. You see, at the end of the day, this is about so much more than just a bunch of browser tabs. It's about remembering that your browser is a tool for what you're doing right now, not a storage unit for all your future anxieties. Closing a tab is an act of self-love. So what's the best way to start today? Just try the rule of 5. That's it. Keep it to 5 tabs for one afternoon and just see how it feels. Your attention is your most valuable asset, so protect it. Close the loops, clear the load, and lead your life with the sovereignty you have so deeply earned. Thank you for your time.